Hey.
Yes, 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 yes.
Woot,
Yeah.
woot.
Welcome, welcome, one and all, to Campus Connection here on the family station Love 101.
Woot,
I
woot.
am Jonathan Fletcher, and with me is my co host.
Hi, I'm Anessa. And before we go any further, Jonathan, I just want to say a happy 33rd anniversary to Love 101
Yes,
FM
yes,
and
yes.
continued blessings on shining the light of Christ. The theme for this year is Let Your Light So Shine. And, I wasn't even thinking about it, but this morning I
Mhm.
just felt like wearing red. And then when I looked on my shirt, it says, Be the light. So I'm
Be
like,
the light.
how
All
much
right.
more
All
perfect
right. In the
can
spirit.
this?
In the spirit. Yes, man. And for those of you who don't know, Love 101 celebrates their 33rd anniversary on the 14th of February
Uh-huh.
on Valentine's Day. So
Yes.
you get it? Love. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You
Red.
pick it. Yeah, you read? Yeah.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You get it. You get it. You guys are very brilliant. So I'm sure you get it. But yeah.
Sheer brilliance.
Yeah. And we're so very pleased to be a part of the family station by doing Campus Connection every Tuesday at 5:30.
Yeah.
And one such entity that, helps us to do this show on a regular basis is, of course, our sponsor, right? The
Yeah.
Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace, Jamaica's partner in advancing progress and building peace. Let's have a word from our sponsor.
Project Rock, we're rocking with that. Project Rebuild, overall and construct the security force. Yeah, we're looking at that. Better surroundings for a better state of mind. New vehicle mobilization, help secure our nation. Investing in facilities for modernization. It's rehabilitation, relieving frustration. Not just for the force, but for the citizens. Them same one. Project Rock.
Building today for a safer tomorrow. A message from the Ministry of National Security and Peace.
Okay. Where are the campus eyes? Students are strapped up in a Christ.
That's right. You just heard from our sponsor, the Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace, Jamaica's partner in advancing progress and building peace. And we have a very, very special episode coming up for you today. We actually started this, Jonathan, from last week, and we were talking about cyber love gone bad, as we're
Mm-hmm.
approaching Valentine's Day. And I don't know how many people know this, but a lot of people are meeting their significant other online. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's now a very common meetup spot, and especially for our young people, for those on our campuses, we believe that this is something you needed to know a little bit more about, and so we're going even deeper today.
Yeah.
We have Detective Andre Murray back with us from the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We also have Mr. Kenneth Roy Clark, the UCCF Vice President, and they will just be sharing with us on that. But before we even get there, we have, of course, our education news and bulletin. We have Honor Roll with a 37-year experience. Wait, let me say that right. A teacher, a retired teacher with 37 years of experience, Miss
Mm-hmm.
Sandra Rowe, and she is coming now. She's coming shortly to share with us on just what that journey has been like and how it feels now to just finally relax and take things a bit slower. And of course, we have our testimony feature, I Chose Christ, which will be brought to us by a St. Catherine High School student. So you definitely want to listen in for all of these exciting things coming up.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to go straight into our program this evening. So we want to get what's going on our campus. So it's time for education news and bulletin, and this will be done by our campus consultant, Camille Lawrence.
Education news and bulletins for Tuesday, February 10, 2026. Love 101 FM celebrates 33 years. Love 101 FM celebrates 33 years, and we want to share a little history with our campusites. Love 101 FM was launched on Valentine's Day, February 14, 1993, in Kingston, Jamaica, and is the premier Christian radio station dedicated to spreading faith, hope, and love, serving as a family-oriented alternative on the Jamaican airwaves. The mission is guided by 1 Corinthians 16, verse 14, "Let all you do be done in love." The station focuses on spreading gospel music, inspirational teachings, and family-oriented content. This year, the station is celebrating 33 years of broadcasting under the theme, "Let Your Light So Shine." From the Campus Connection team, we wish Love 101 FM a happy 33rd anniversary and continued blessings on shining the light of Christ, reaching students all across Jamaica and the world. And now for the bulletins. Passion and Purity presents Love Week 2026, February 8 to 15, under the theme, "The Light of God's Love." Love challenge and connections all week with special daily devotions at 6 a.m. Join us for our singles session on Zoom on Friday, February 13 at 8 p.m. For more details, visit at Passion and Purity JA. You are invited to the Students Christian Fellowship and Scripture Union virtual fellowship breakfast under the theme, "A Living Witness, Bearing Fruit in Times of Recovery." Join us on Zoom February 14 at 8 p.m., featuring guest speaker Bradford Everett, and engage in our powerful breakout sessions, which include Melissa, Life in and After the Storm, hosted by Deandra Brown. More Than This, a call to support student ministry, hosted by Eric Hosen. This and so much more on February 14 at 8 p.m. For more information, call 876-977-5886 or email studentschristianfellowship@yahoo.com. The St. Catherine High School ISCF Week will begin on Sunday, March 15 and end on Saturday, March 21, 2026. The official church service will be held at Love Worship Center, 95 St. John's Road at 9:30 a.m. The annual health fair will be on Friday, March 20 under the theme, "The Healthy Way." There will be free blood sugar checks, blood pressure checks, cholesterol, BMI, and hemoglobin tests, sponsored by the National Health Fund. Admission is free. More details coming soon. That's the education news and bulletins for Campus Connection. I am Camille Lawrence.
All right. Thank you so much, Camille, for the education news and bulletin. Now, as we mentioned earlier, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. We are live with this program on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. We also have our studio lines open at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. We also have our WhatsApp line open. You can reach out to us on WhatsApp, send us a message, or you can even send us a voice note at 876-997-3125. I mean, there's so much that we want to uncover in this show, and we're looking forward to a discussion that's coming up right now with Miss Sandra Rowe. Now, Jonathan, I'm going to allow you to read this very long list of achievements. I mean,
right.
Go ahead.
Let me try to, because listen, she is on a roll for a reason, right? And I'm going to try to give a summary. So let's start.
All right.
So 38 years of service to education, started in 1988 after she graduated from Shortwood Teachers College. So she has been teaching for basically the length of an adult life, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
From teaching subjects such as English language, physical education, religious education, to her core subjects, integrated science and mathematics. She not only served in academics, but also in extracurricular activities, Girls Guide, dance, and netball. She was also favored to serve in middle management positions as she served as grade 8 supervisor. She was then tasked with the role of examination coordinator and then finally as the head of the mathematics department. A well-rounded lady, if you will, right? She was at the Tatius Golding High School. Awesome educator in Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sandra Rowe.
Honor roll. I feel like we need a drum roll for this.
Yeah, we need something. Producer, please, but we have something for honor roll because the fanfare is necessary at this point in time. Yeah, so waiting on Miss Sandra Rowe to join us. All right, seems as if she is having a bit of technical difficulties. We may have to circle back until those issues are rectified, but we're really looking forward to that conversation.
We're getting a slight. That might be because you are listening to the program on our radio. Mr. O, if you are, we're just asking you to help us out. Turn your radio down so we won't get any echoes. All right.
So while we figure that out, let's jump to okay. All right, let's jump to our I Chose Christ feature. In the meantime, in between time, while we sort out the technical difficulties, so we will now be given a testimony from Leandre King, St. Catherine High School student.
My name is Leandre King, and I am a student of the St. Catherine High School. For a long time, I thought being a Christian meant being perfect, having everything together, and never messing up. The truth is, there were seasons in my life where my light felt dim. I struggled with doubt, pressure, and trying to fit in. Sometimes I knew God, but I wasn't really living for Him. Then I realized something powerful. Jesus never asked me to create my own light. He asked me to reflect His. If we look back to Matthew 5, verse 16, it says, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." And this verse, it changed my perspective. I learned that my light shines when I choose integrity over popularity, when I show love instead of hate, and when I stand firm in my faith, even when it's uncomfortable. My light shines when I forgive, when I serve, and when I trust God, even when I don't see the full picture. Christ didn't remove every challenge from my life, but He gave me purpose in the middle of them. He reminded me that my story, my struggles, and my growth can all be used to point someone else to Him. Today, I am not ashamed of my faith, but I'm learning to walk boldly, to live intentionally, and to let God's light shine through me. Not for glory, not for my glory, but for His. And if you're listening and feel like your light is flickering, or it feels dull, or you have no light, know this. As long as Christ is in you, your light is never out. I chose Christ, and you should too.
Absolutely powerful. As long as Christ is in you, your light is never out.
Love it. Yeah. Love
Poetry.
it. Love it.
Beautiful. All right. Seems as if we're still having technical difficulties with our honorable guest. We're going to jump to a quick break as we continue to see how best we can rectify the situation at hand. Stick and stay with us for more Campus Connection after these messages.
FM, the family station. It's 5:45.
Project Rock, we're rocking with that. Project Rebuild, overall and construct the security force. Yeah, we're looking at that. Better surroundings for a better state of mind. New vehicle mobilization, help secure our nation. Investing in facilities for modernization. It's rehabilitation, relieving frustration. Not just for the folks, but for the citizens. Them same one. Project Rock.
Building today for a safer tomorrow. A message from the Ministry of National Security and Peace.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strapped up in a price.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Campus Connection. It is a lovely, lovely Tuesday afternoon, and we are just about halfway into our program. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Of course, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. We also have some phone numbers that you could call in to chat with us a little bit. We haven't done that in a while. And we also have our WhatsApp line that you can reach out to us to participate in the show. We have with us a very special guest, Miss Sandra Rowe. She's a retired educator who has served in various capacities for over 37 years at the Tasha Schooling High School. Now, let's just give you a little bit of background to Miss Rowe. She is, as we said, an educator. She graduated from Shortwood Teachers College. I mean, she was the head of department at Tasha Schooling High School. And of course, she has been privileged to serve in various capacities, including English language, physical education, religious education, and now her core subjects being integrated science and mathematics. So we are trying to bring her on to just have a brief chat with her. Let's see if we can get Miss Rowe back on. All right. There we go. So Miss Rowe, because we might be listening to the program another source, a phone, or your volume device might be up. So you might want to just so we can not sure if anyone is hearing that. We really want to get this interview done. And so let's resolve that issue. All right. So it seems we might have to just proceed. So you've been schooling high school for can you tell us a little bit what that experience has been like?
My experience has been one of growth. It has been one of having friendship. It has been one with relationship and pocket of excellence. And also there were challenges, when you look at growth, seeing yourself entering into the education system, just mere being 26 years old, and seeing yourself growing from being a classroom teacher to become a mega manager, so that was growth. You grow with learning from students, learning from your colleagues, learning from administration, learning from even the auxiliary workers and the office staff. So that was a lot of growth, and friendship. Being at Tasha Schooling is like I have been there for almost my entire life, So I got a lot of friends from there, even got a second mom, even though I'm so blessed. My mother passed off in 2013, and to have this lady, she used to work in the canteen. Miss Woodhouse as a mother. I see her as a mother, and I treat her as a mother. Every month I ensure that I give her something that she feels good, and all the relationships, the relationship with my students. I would say that I don't have any other relationship outside of Teacher's Golden except maybe for church. So anytime somebody may come up to me and say, "You remember me?" I say, "Yes, you must be from Teacher's Golden because that's the only place that I have been all my life, And when you look at like pockets of excellence, when you see you send up your grade 9 students for CSEC math, and they pass it because they did not believe in themselves. But I believe in them, and I saw the ability, and I said, I'm going to send you at grade 9, that's third form. And you know that they pass the exam. That is really, you feel good about that. And I remember once, this young man, LaShawn Graham, and I had him from grade 7 right up to grade 11, and he went for the exam in grade 10, and that young man gave me a straight A profile with a range 1, and that's a pocket of excellence. So, being at Teacher's Golden, it is challenging, because it's a remote area, and when I just start there, taxis were not commuting much in that area, so most of the time we had to walk all 3 miles all the way from Teacher's Golden to where we can get taxi. So it has been a bit of joy and everything. So I would say,
I love you have shared so much on your as a teacher and I can hear the passion coming out for your students. I can hear the passion coming out for your profession. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you were able to navigate the challenges? Because I know it wasn't all a bed of roses. I know there were some challenges that come with 37 years of service. So tell us a little bit more about that. How did you navigate the challenges?
My belief is that we are put here on earth to serve. We are put here to serve. When Jesus said to his disciple, I did not come here for you to serve me, but for himself to serve others. So I see myself as a servant, and I am committed. Anything that I am given, I am committed to it. And then for you to get through the challenges, you have to have Christ in your vessel. You have to anchor yourself on Christ, because with Christ, you can do all things. So if you don't do that, then you might not want to commit. And I believe in giving of my best. So whatever challenges come, I know it will come, but I say that Christ said that you never leave me nor forsake me. So I know that he's with me, because in Psalm 23 say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. So whatever is happening, I know that he's with me, and I just anchor myself on him and know that and see my job as a relationship and not as collecting an income. So when you see yourself that way, you will commit and you want to go. You're committed and you're dedicated, and that is what helped me to stay on course. Because if you give me a task, I am not going to quit. I am going to work at it until it is finished. So that is what
I love that. And the most powerful thing I heard you say so far is the fact that you see your job as serving others. And so many people get into their profession not seeing it that way. So I know you are having this posture of serving others, but tell us a little bit about some of the persons that have helped you along the way. Is there anybody that you consider to be a part of your support system that you'd want to acknowledge and even thank right now?
I would like to thank, when I just went to Teacher's Golden, there was this teacher, you have Miss Bell, Miss Butler, God bless, rest her soul. Those persons are the persons who hold your hand and help you with the little language, that you have difficult with. And you have person who mentor you. And then as you go on, you meet more friends like Mrs. Tomlinson, the teachers in my department. We see ourselves working together. I don't want them to see me just as a supervisor, just see me as somebody working together. So if myself and them have the same class and I am doing my lesson plan, I am eager to share my plans with them so that they can feel comfortable. So that is what helped me, the kind of relationship. And that one thing you need to do, is to learn to observe person. And if you observe persons and based on their characteristic or their personality, you'll be able to know to get along with them. And I don't like the idea of comparing people because nobody is the same. Everybody is unique. So I think that is what helped me. And those are the persons who helped me. They're always willing to help. And that is what keep me going there.
And recently you were honored by some of your faculty members. So tell us a little bit about that. Just remember
it was from the teachers in my department, I suspect that they were up to something, but I tried to say, okay, nothing is wrong. And when I saw it, I was really, I felt so valued. I felt so appreciated knowing that if somebody can do all of this for me, it means that I have impacted their life somehow. I have added value to their life. I have meant something to them. And for them to do that, I have to say thanks to them. I was telling them it's the first I have ever received so many gifts, even though I have not even started using some of them. And I thank them very much for that gesture that they did, because I show them love, and in the same way they give me back the same love that I have given unto them.
Wow.
Miss
Rose, thank you so much for taking this time with us to just share on what things have been like over the past 37 years as you served in education, as you made Tasha's Golding and even our nation better just by what you do. We want to thank you so much for making it Campus Connection. Our co-host is actually the son of a teacher. I hate that he could not have, given you a chance to just to ask you some more questions, but we hope to have you back on the show at some point to further discuss what's going on with you and just what's your next step. But thank you so much for making the connection. Thank you for your service to our education system, to our students, to our nation. We appreciate you and we wish you all the best.
And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You heard that?
Yeah, man. I love a good teacher story. You know this.
I know you love a good teacher story.
Well, technical difficulties would have caused us to not interrupt. But I hope she'll get a chance to be on the show another time.
We're jumping now to our next segment, and I do believe that we have to jump to a quick break as well. But when we return, more Campus Connection. Stay with us.
my peeps, get this on the regular. Your HIV status if you consider. At least if you test once a year. Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late, so you're out of time. A progressive future, mandatory. Real long life, our story.
Remember, update your status in a real life. Go HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Real long life, our story. Real long life for youth coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, but we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good.
Jamaica, stop the killing and give up the guns. Just live good now.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is
6 o'clock.
We have to protect the woman and the youths now. Elderly in a fear them get shoot down. Yo, me tired if me tell you not the truth now. This is what we have to do now. Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, but we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good.
A message from the Ministry of National Security and Peace.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strap up in a price. We see the yard.
All right. Welcome back to Campus Connection, proudly brought to you by Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace, Jamaica's partner in advancing progress and building peace. And we have quite an interesting discussion for you, or we're continuing an interesting discussion. Cyber love gone bad. Cyber love gone bad. And we're joined this evening by Mr. Andre Murray, Detective Corporal and Cyber Forensic Investigator, Communication Forensics and Cybercrime Division, CFCD, from the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And of course, we have Mr. Kenneth Roy Clark, UA UCCF Vice President. And essentially, we want you to understand that national security and peace, they begin with our people, especially that of our most vulnerable groups. So our youth population feeling safe in their everyday lives, including the digital space, so from classrooms to communities. Safeguarding information keeps citizens safe, strengthens national resilience, empowers youth, and secures peace for our beloved Jamaican society. So listen, national security, serious business. Right, Detective?
That's correct.
All right. Welcome again to the show. So good to have both of you here with us. Detective, starting off with you, can we refresh our listeners and our viewers about the importance of understanding cybercrimes and the impact that these crimes literally have on our country?
Well, I mean, just a refresher. It's always important for citizens and persons who utilize cyberspace to understand even some very basic cyberspace etiquette. And one of which most important is the reduction or the need to be knowledgeable about not oversharing. I mean, we live in a digital age, and because we are exposed to the vast array of digital means, that is social media, that is the use of the internet, and of course the use of artificial intelligence in the form of chat GPT and many of those things, there is the misuse. So with those different means of utilizing technology, persons tend to misuse sometimes, and so the oversharing part comes into effect. Those cases where you go to the ATM machines and persons are so inclined to vlog in that they don't recognize that they are sharing personal information. And then, of course, they have the persons who go to the different resorts and they're not aware that when they take pictures, those pictures capture what you call metadata. And so, online, it shows their live location that they have just checked into Rio. And it even goes beyond that, because there's more than one Rio. So it shows the exact Rio that they're staying. And if we want to even take a look at the international landscape, we have seen just how important that is, because many of the celebrities who unfortunately would have passed away as a result of sharing their location inadvertently. Right? And I don't want to name names, but if we go on the international hip-hop scene, you'd see many of them who have lost their lives as a result of sharing information on the digital sphere, right? And so oversharing is one major concern. for persons operating in the 21st century.
So, that being said, Kenneth Roy, you are on campus. You're at one of the largest universities in the Caribbean. Tell us a little bit about the role of cyber activity in on our campuses, in relationships among young people. How important is it? Is it an integral part or not so needed? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Good day. Well, I will say that communication is a natural part of, even being human. That is how we are able to, express ourselves, etc. That is how we are able to acknowledge each other and understand each other. Communication is very vital. And so cybersecurity in its very self becomes just as vital, because the way we communicate, as we see, it continues to evolve as technology evolves, as we move from, simply writing messages to actually utilizing these telecommunication tools.
All right. Seems as if we've lost Kenroy for a bit there. All right. So that was a good refresher. Okay, sometimes you have to remind the people what we're talking about. So we want to continue now on the conversation. And we want you to understand as well that you have an opportunity to participate in a very tangible way in the show this evening. We have our listeners' response, a quick fire engagement. Winners must be able to pick up their gift from our sponsor here at 81 Hagley Park Road from Friday, February 13, 2026. All prizes must be collected at the office within 30 days of being contacted. And of course, a representative from the Live Good campaign will contact you if you are the winner. So we want you to send your responses via WhatsApp 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. And the question is, how does cyber abuse undermine trust in digital spaces that young people rely on for connection, learning, and opportunity? How does cyber abuse undermine trust in digital spaces that young people rely on for connection, learning, and opportunity? Detective, back with you. What kind of power shift happens after relationship ends and cyber abuse is brought into play? As we jump into this whole cyber love gone bad?
Well, I'll tell you something. Based on my experience, being at the Communication Forensics and Cybercrime Division, and that's a division that operates under the auspices of the Forensic Services Branch. Many of the reports that we get, some of which, we have tried to address through sensitization and public education forums, really come on the heels of partners during the course of separation, when things go sour. And so during that mellow, what we call the quote unquote mellow period of the relationship, or the early stages of the relationship, there are images that are sent, there are videos that are sent. For our listeners, some of us, we are very familiar with the one views, right? But in some cases, they are not one views. So they're actually shared because you're romantically involved with the person. And when that romantic period ends and the relationship gets sour, then there is a need to establish what some of us call a kind of omnipresence. So we still want to keep tab on our former significant other. We still want to know where they are, because that jealous thing kicks in and it becomes a fear of the heart. And so some persons feel a need to not let go when the relationship ends. And with that, different forms of cyber breaches and violations, some of which persons may have known or been exposed to your Find My iPhone account, ID and password. Some persons may have been on a family share with you, right, and with their significant other and children, in cases where their marital relationships have become the basis of separation. So you're still aligned with the person in some cyber way, put it that way. And so when the relationship is nullified, some persons do not let go of those things ethically. So they feel an even greater need to follow the person in cyberspace. That they need to know where you're at, where you're doing. They need to know your location. Should you find my iPhone or your Samsung, find my Samsung.
Mm-hmm.
So with that comes the omnipresence kind of thing. And that factor often escalate even beyond cyberspace and into the physical realm, where there's confrontations, verbal and physical confrontations sometimes, because of course anyone gets paranoid when they recognize that somebody is following them around. In fact, I've heard a program where the question is asked: if you are with somebody in an intimate relationship, would you give them access to your IPTV camera or your IP camera, right? Or so they can see what is happening at your house remotely.
And to break it down for our listeners and our viewers, this IP camera would be the security cameras.
Right.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
It is those standalone cameras that does not necessarily need a DVR, what you call a digital video recorder. So it is standalone. Some of the popular ones include the bulb cameras that you're seeing being sold here, there, and everywhere. So it is a reflection of those cameras that you can view remotely by just signing into an app. Now the question is asked: would you give your significant other in a visiting relationship access to your IP cameras? And you'd be surprised the responses that you get. A lot of them is no, right off the bat. And you're saying, but it can be a security concern. But like I said, this issue of trust, especially when relationship goes sour, plays a great role in what we see cascading from cybersecurity breaches into the physical world.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I feel like there is an aspect to this that I really want to explore, which is how these kinds of things affect our young people. Because if there's anybody that's in the cyberspace, it's young people, it's our campusites. And so I'm glad we have Kenneth Roy back. Kenneth Roy, can you tell us a little bit more about why do you think it might be so dangerous to overshare online on social media in the cyber world?
Well, I will say that you don't truly know everybody. And I think that is a truth that we must accept. You know, I believe that a lot of communication, especially, is done with intention to get to know persons and get to draw closer to persons. And so you truly never know if somebody has an ulterior motive. You don't know what can happen the very moment there is some form of altercation, the very moment you don't see eye to eye on something. And so that now grants them the opportunity to invade your space. And just like that, your security can be threatened. So, I think that's something we ought to be aware of. And I think that's in itself one of the major reasons.
Absolutely. We really have to protect the vulnerable. Detective, based on what Kenneth Roy shared just now, at what point in time does online speech stop being, as we'd call it, free expression, right? And who decides that line? Like, what's the line that you would cross that you say, hey, all right, this is getting out of hand?
All right, so the issue of, we don't have a Fifth Amendment like the United States of America, but of course, where do we draw the line between what is considered to be appropriate online versus what is not appropriate online by virtue of the acts? Well, the acts do speak to Section 9 of the Cybercrimes Act, does speak to malicious communication. And that is important for our listeners to understand that any information that is transmitted via digital means, more so online, that is considered to be threatening, menacing, or otherwise obscene in nature, that causes the person who you are transmitting that information to or against or for to feel that there is a feeling of apprehension that harm may come to them physically or within cyberspace, right? So that apprehension of harm that may come to them constitute a breach of the Cybercrimes Act. So, for instance, let me give you an example of a matter. that I have worked on in recent times. So there is a matter that I worked on where some particular individual utilizing TikTok uploaded a video and said that, Spanish Town will be locked down. You might have heard about it. And the threatening nature of that remark sparked some particular interest among the security forces. Surprisingly, though, you would not believe that because the smartphone captures a lot of information. Not only that, but with the good work of the JCF under the leadership of our commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake, we were able to secure a prosecution, and under the Cybercrimes Act, that particular perpetrator was made to pay $800,000 or imprisonment.
Wow.
So just for something that was uploaded via TikTok.
Via
The
TikTok,
video is not even the video itself is not even 3 minutes long. And you're made to pay $800,000, sorry, or be imprisoned for that not even 3 minutes long video. So it goes to show that the act and the legislations, they are working. Right? And persons do not have to feel as though, even persons who are the complainants and the victims, they do not have to feel as though they're in an echo chamber of reliving that regurgitated hurt every time something happens. All they need to do is report it, and we can take it from there. And in many of our cases, result in successes. I can tell you that much.
Wow. We want to remind our listeners about our quickfire engagement. The question is, how does cyber abuse undermine trust in digital spaces that young people rely on for connection, learning, and opportunity? And of course, you can pick up your gift at 81 Hagley Park Road from Friday, February 13, 2026, if you are the winner. And we want you to send your responses via WhatsApp at 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. We're going to go straight to a break, but you want to stick and stay with us as we continue to explore cyber love gone bad here on the Family Station Love 101.
I just never did I get through with no work, I did I get desperate. Till one day I see one ad, but I want somebody for work at a massage parlor. Trust me, the place was nothing like them advertised. From the very first day, I had to be giving much more than massages.
Verify the legitimacy of job advertisements with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. To report suspected cases of human trafficking, call the nearest police station 119 or 888 Protect. A message from the Ministry of National Security and Peace.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strapped up in a price.
All right, welcome back to Campus Connection here on the Family Station Love 101. If you're just joining us, we are exploring Cyber Love Gone Bad, the second edition of this conversation. We're joined with Mr. Andre Murray, Detective Corporal and Cyber Forensic Investigator with the JCF, and of course, Kenneth Roy Clark, UE UCCF Vice President. Before the break, I reminded you of our quickfire segment. Listeners, you can join in on the conversation and win a prize. And the question is, how does cyber abuse undermine trust in digital spaces that young people rely on for connection, learning, and opportunities? Send us a WhatsApp message at 876-997-3125. We're going to continue in our discussion. We are having quite a discussion, actually. We've spoken about how harmful it can be, if we cross the line of free speech, because a lot of people are exploring that, and we want to make sure that we're on the right side of the law.
Absolutely. And, Jonathan, I definitely want to stay with Detective for just a little bit longer. Help us to understand some of those early warning signs that I can use, maybe as a student, maybe as a teacher, even somebody on campus. But what are some of those early warning signs that online behavior is now crossing the line? This is going beyond just discussing a topic to cyber abuse. It's now bullying, it's now harassment, and all of these things.
All right, so one of the things that you want to look for, which is generally associated with, what we talked about last week, which is cyber stalking or harassment, because the acts on legislation do not speak explicitly to the word stalking. So stalking is really harassment in our legislation, right? We want to talk about excessive and persistent contact because generally that's where it starts, or that is where it generally escalates to in terms of the continuum of contact. So it generally escalates from being one point of contact where it becomes persistent. And even when there's a clear indication to desist, the person starts to utilize other means. For instance, you would have blocked the individual and they utilize another account. They create a fake account and they start to, to send you a friend request again, or they start to send you direct messages, right? And with that persistence now is where the high volume of it start to feel like an harassment to the point where it may become an harassment because the messages can become threatening if you do not respond. Hey girl, why don't you respond to me, and all of these different things? And it may be a boy too. So it generally escalates from being excessive to persistent, and from that the hostility begins. We want to think about persistence, then we want to move into the hostility. And then where it even goes further, where it becomes threatening. So threats may sometimes be disguised as jokes. The remarks start with a little joking connotation to it, but beneath the joke is really the serious threat that is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you move gradually between persistence, then it escalates to hostility, then it gets to the threats, it disguised as jokes, and then it gets to where it may become a reputational issue. So reputational damage. And this is kind of twofold, listeners, because the damage doesn't have to be verbal or audio based. The damage can be by a means of multimedia usage, which can be an image, especially with the use of deepfakes and AI assisted.
Yes.
Somebody can put your face on a body that looks almost identical to yours, right? And persons are of the belief that it's a leaked pornographic material. And you have a hard time as the victim telling the world that is exposed to that material. Nothing is of the sort. In recent times, in years gone back, one of the attacks that persons utilized was they put up a picture and they say this person is HIV positive. I'm sure you would have seen that some years ago. And you have a hard time convincing the rest of the Jamaican population that this is not so. You know what I mean? So those are what we talk about with a reputational damage. Of course, you can sue, you can file a lawsuit, and you can proceed with a civil matter in the civil courts, but that does not insulate you from the reputational damage when you walk on this.
So boy, because there's a lot, as you rightfully said, that's going on right now, right? AI, deepfakes, all of those things. Question to you, detective: do you think we are taking cyber abuse seriously? Do you think the law enforcement in Jamaica is taking cyber abuse seriously?
I think we are taking a very serious approach to it. In fact, the legislation such as the Child Pornography Prevention Act, to include the Defamation Act, we have the Cyber Crimes Act that speaks to that, and of course we have already within our arsenal our ordinance of artillery to treat with cases like that. We have the Sexual Offence Act, we have the Domestic Violence Act. All of those acts compounded speak to how we can prosecute matters are considered to be harassment, or matters that are considered to be cyber harassment, or matters that cascade into domestic violence or sexual offenses, whether it be sexual grooming or having sex with a person under 16. And we have a whole line of acts within our arsenal to treat with prosecuting these. What we need is the general public to come on board security forces, report things when they observe them. so that we can act on them. That is where it starts. It starts with the complainant, it starts with the victim, and it starts with persons who are members of the family of the victims to help them go through this period and to report it, knowing they have the full support of the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
Oh, we just want to remind our listeners about our quickfire engagement segment. We want you to join in on the conversation. The question that we're asking this evening: what role should schools, families, tech companies, and law enforcement each play to cyber abuse? Right, you can send us a WhatsApp message at 876-997-3125, 876-997-3125, and the quickfire question earlier is: how does cyber abuse undermine trust in digital spaces that young people rely on for connection, learning, and opportunity? So you can
Yeah,
send in your
Jonathan.
response. Mm-hmm.
We also want to shout out those who won last week and the week before, because I know persons might be listening and wondering, well,
Yeah.
is this prize thing it's not a fake, it's not a deep fake. Okay. If you answer these questions correctly, you will get a prize. You'll receive a prize from our sponsors, the Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace. So they are on talking to us about Cyber Love Gone Bad, and they're also here to give some prizes. We want to see if you're really paying attention. So make sure you participate. The WhatsApp number is 876-997-3125. And we want to hear from you. Now, in our final moments, Kenneth Roy, I just wanted to find out a little bit more from you. In what ways can silence from, whether it be friends, followers, loved ones, in what ways can their silence allow cyber abuse to continue? So say, for instance, you're the one that's being affected by cyber abuse, and your family members, nobody says anything. How does that perpetuate cyber abuse?
Well, I will first say that silence, well, the more silence continues, is the more hurt will continue. And I think that is very important for us to consider, because someone who is hurt will remain silent. That's something we can anticipate. And, we are depending on those around us who understand exactly what we're going through to assist, to speak out, to be our voice through our silence. And so if they aren't that point of voice, the point of reason on our behalf, then it means that hurt will continue and it will ultimately evolve into trauma. And I believe that, that's definitely a state that we would not want to be at, because that trauma can lead to other things. It can lead to some form of mental breakdown. It can lead to, well, even an individual reaching to the point of suicide or even suicidal ideation.
Yeah, that's so real. And I know, Detective, you've shared so much with us already on what everyone can do, what we all can do to just be safe as we navigate the online space. But can you just share any final thoughts, any encouragement, or anything further that you would like to say in terms of what maybe justice would look like in those cyber abuse cases?
So justice in the cyber abuse cases come in the form of, well, ultimately bringing the perpetrators to justice. I think in many cases, what you would find is that the complainant and the victim is not satisfied unless justice is served. Many of our cases, even some of our landmark cases, I just had a lady report to me, and I'll just share this before we conclude. I just have a lady report to me that she was in receipt of threats for somebody to take her life. And I brought it to my, my team of persons who work in the communications department. And she was quite elated to know that within 24 hours, we would have ascertained the identity of the individual. And not only that, but we would have been able to ascertain the location of that individual and where the general area that he's operating from. And go a bit further, that she was not the first victim that our first person that he would have contacted, threatening her life in a bid to scare the victim into providing financial proceeds. So she was particularly impressed that we were able to action that and guide her through the process. And she had never met me in person, and this was all done over the phone. I advised her to make a report at the Duane Park police station. She did that. We were in contact with her right throughout. It was on a weekend. I was not even in the office, but I placed myself on duty because I know I have a civic duty.
Yes.
Members of and the citizens of Jamaica to provide that kind of support and comfort. And
Yes.
it became that you can hear that sigh of relief when I told her the good news that we have
Awesome,
established a
awesome.
name. So I
Thank,
think my
thank you
message
so
to
much for
Jamaican
sharing
folks,
that, Detective Maury. We certainly appreciate you and your efforts, as well as the efforts of the Ministry of National Security and Peace. We want to thank you, our guests, for making it Campus Connection. We are unfortunately out of time, but we certainly did appreciate this very, very needed discussion. Thank you to our hardworking production team. Thank you so much to all of our guests who came through the program today. And we want to say a very special thank you to our producer or technical support, and of course to you, our listeners and viewers who make it Campus Connection each and every week. That's it for our show for this week. Campus Connection is brought to you by the Live Good Anti-Violence Campaign from the Ministry of National Security and Peace, Jamaica's partner in advancing progress and building peace. We'll see you next week as we explore more things while going on campus. I'm Anesta.
And I'm Jonathan. See you.
Here to the Family Radio, broadcasting from Kingston, Jamaica. We're Love 101 FM.